perhaps one of the underlying reasons I committed myself to the archives, because I realized I was seeing a counter narrative to the American story, and one that wasn't just a curiosity, but made of deep truth about what people who are given so little by their society or judged in so many ways create such richness in their lives.
So you're describing the American story as a primarily white, cisgender narrative kind of thing, and that you wanted to show other stories other than that? Is that kind of what you meant by wanting to do that?
Yes, by what I call counter narratives, yes, which is the reason why I did the archival work all the years. I'm 77 now. I have to say, in listening to the digital tapes of the excerpt from my oral history with Miss Hampton, one, I realized how young I was, and two, how incredibly patient she was with me as a questioner. But yes, I was very lucky. One of the gifts that my relationship with Miss Hampton gave me was the knowledge of the deep currents of resistance that ran throughout America in the times, for instance, the 50s, that were known as the most conforming times. So one of the wonders of oral histories is that it does allow you to get at national stories that, one, perhaps the nation doesn't want you to hear, or anyone else, that it has no respect or appreciation for, and you get them in the voice and body of the person who risked everything to live them. So it's not from the pages of a book. There's something incredibly powerful about hearing the inflections of both desire and resistance that come through in oral histories.
Yeah, that's really well put. That's quite poetic, actually. Especially in the clip we're going to play, you can feel.
And what gave her life. So one thing about doing oral histories also is that you learn to respect the language that makes a person known to themselves. And as a questioner, or as a listener, really, as a listener, it teaches really about the complexities of history in a very profound way. So you go into an interview thinking you know what you want to hear, or when you're young, perhaps you do that. And then the person's fullness of life spills out and you get new insights.
Totally. And it's also interesting from the perspective of this person is your friend, Mabel Hampton, and it makes for such an intimate interview. So how do you feel like you navigated the ethical boundaries of having such a personal and comfortable interview, but also keeping in mind that this is going to be accessed by others and heard by other people?
It's a very good question. And, I must say I never thought of it that way. Miss Hampton was part of the archival undertakings, and her joy in it and her desire to be part and to tell her story. How can I put this? I had a reason. I thought her story was profound and moving. I also had things I wanted her to say, but that's youth. And Miss Hampton was so in possession of herself that she refused that. And she told the story that she wanted to tell. And that to me was the most, this wasn't for an academic use, it was for Miss Hampton to be part of the community that had given her life. So, but there were times in her history, like when she was arrested for prostitution and was sent to the women's prison in Bedford. Now, she would tell me later that all her friends never wanted her to talk about that. It was something that, because she trusted me. So there were moments when now, and I can see that perhaps I pushed her into more difficult territory, but that she in herself reclaimed. And being a friend in a way, more than a friend, I felt it was a precious moment of trust. And I know that there are parts on the tapes, and it's hard to listen. As I said, I haven't listened to them in a long time, but I think I'd be more humble now at 77 than I was as a young person who felt, oh, we're doing this wonderful thing called the Lesbian History Archives, and all histories should be in it. And and told the way I want you to tell them. And so this is a warning to other people doing oral histories to really, you ask guiding questions and then you listen more. But it showed that even then, trying to walk this line between what lesbian feminists wanted to hear at that time that I made this tape, which is, lesbians didn't want to be men. They were women loving women. And also my butch femme history and Mabel's butch femme history. And what she shows is the complexity that, yes, she was married in her head. Yes, Lillian was her wife. Yes, she called herself at different times in her life Stud and Papa. And then the whole world of women. And that was a very special world.
Let's play the clip.